Hi guys, this is Tuesday, January 14th, I think it is, 2025. I wasn't going to film this, but I thought why not? We still get some new people that are sort of waking up to the making things shelf stable or the preparedness. So what I'm doing here, a friend of mine bought some greens the other day at the grocery store. They were buy one, get one, and she said, well, I didn't need to. But whenever it gets down, this is what we all need to always remember. It seems like common sense, but if you pay the same thing for two, in other words, buy one, get one, why in the world would you just grab one bag and say, well, that's all I need? Get them both and give the other bag or the other loaf of bread or the other whatever the BOGO, give it to someone else. Okay, I am in the middle of, again, another big huge batch of citrus, lemons and oranges and satsumas and the whole business. So I don't have time to cook these like I normally would. I love them in soups and stews. So what I'm going to do is dehydrate them. It does say that this is washed. Well, they probably are, but I want to wash them again. Let's see, somewhere on there. Triple washed. Well, I don't care. Now they're going to be quadruple washed. So what I'm going to do is I do go through. You don't have to, but sometimes there's so many stems, the fat part, you can even do them on their own if you so choose. And some of the things that you're pulling out, and you can dehydrate them on their own and completely powder them. These I'm going to go ahead and dehydrate to use in soups and stews and whatever I'm doing. But this is a lot of them, and I'm putting them in the 6 tray thing. If they get to be there's too tall, some of y'all that already dehydrate know what I'm talking about. See how, even though I'm splitting them up between 4 trays, but they're still, that's kind of tall and thick. So I put the solid tray down below on top of the wire, because if I put it just on the wire, this is going down. Well, what you can do is get one of these mesh silicone trays, or not trays, but sheets, and you can do like that, and it kind of mashes them down a little bit to where they will fit in the dehydrator a little bit more, so that you don't have to find out the hard way as you're pushing things in and out. You're knocking about half of these off. I'm going ahead and rinsing these, pulling out what I'm wanting to cull, and then I will dehydrate these, and I'll get back with you. I did a partial film video one time on the dehydrating of these, but I didn't do the whole thing start to finish. So this is start to finish. Got them out of the bag, put them into a colander to rinse. Now I'm going to divide them on here. And the reason I'm doing 4 trays instead of 6 is to give a little bit more airflow in between. But you do you. Make this work for you, guys. Alright, now this kale is finished. I had to put the screen on top of a couple of the trays just to help keep it on. This doesn't shrink down as much as some things do, but whenever it was totally green, it did stand up pretty good, if you'll remember. This is 100% dry. Hear that? I mean, it's like Dust Bowl dry, dehydrated. So, and it's going to be kind of messy, but I'm going to put it here in this. This is a half-gallon jar. Some people go ahead and powder right now. I am not going to. I'm choosing at this moment not to. Look at this. Look at this. Making a mess everywhere. I'm going to cram it down in here. I've already put the other 3 trays in. But you do whatever you're finding works for you and your family, okay? There there's no fast and furious rules in this. It's your house, your rules. Mainly learn how to do it right, and then customize it to fit you, okay? All right, there's still some of that stuck on there, but I'm not going to worry. That's just sticking to it. So, okay, then we'll move this out of the way, and I'm going to show what I'm going to do. The static electricity has got it really sticking here. I'm going to take this as just a wooden spoon, and I'm going to crunch this down. But again, you can put these in smaller jars. I'll tell you one of the reasons that I'm keeping it larger, because I may very well, in fact my intentions are, put it in soups and stews. Well, I don't need it powdered. But if you want this powdered, get you a grinder. You can either grind it immediately, but read some of the comments that some people have found that when they grind certain things, it gets a little hot or warm in the grinder, and ever so often, unless you really maybe stick it in the oven just a little bit to, and then let it totally cool down, you don't want any moisture coming back in this jar. So you can get a grinder, whatever kind works for you, or honestly, you can crunch some of this up. If you want it really small, you can put it in a baggie and pound it. So what I'm going to do now is, somebody had asked me, well, how do you vacuum seal it? I don't think any of that touched the rim, but just in case you want any debris off the rim, and I know it didn't touch the top of this. So I'll show you how I'm going to do with vacuum sealing. But as with always, there's more than one way. I have this thing here. This is the regular size mouth, or you just twist it, and this is the wide mouth. This was on sale a while back on Amazon. It may still be there for $11.99. So all I'll do, and this is USB charged, so I'm going to put that over there, make sure it's down, mash that button. You hear that? Okay, there towards the end the pitch got a little bit louder, and it made just a bit of a release sound. Okay, now the numbers have quit showing. This should be sealed. So there you go, it's vacuum sealed. I would still check it a day or two. I mainly was just wanting y'all to see this. It's not going to move around because I crammed it down here, as y'all saw. Okay, but other ways, look at this mess. Now I've got to have the maid come in here. I'd fire that maid, but it's me. Here's another way you can do it that requires no electricity. I learned this from Rain Country, Heidi at Rain Country. This is a brake bleeder, but if you're going to do this way, you need one of these gizmos and gadgets, which you can attach to your vacuum sealing machine, and then you would hook one end to your vacuum sealing machine, and what you would do is take this other doohickey, yes, that's the official name, okay? Don't give me a hard time, that's the official. I can't even help myself. And then you could do that on there, and then you can vacuum seal it with your vacuum machine, vacuum sealer machine. There's so many different ways to do this. Some very inexpensive. I think I got this brake bleeder a year or so ago. I don't remember if it's $20 or something. But you figure out what works for you and do it. Alright, there's other ways to vacuum seal it too. if you so choose, you can use oxygen absorbers. Sadly, any way that you vacuum seal this to keep the air and the oxygen out is going to have some cost, whether it be the O2 absorbers, whatever it is. Just know there's going to be some sort of cost. But the reality is, depending on your home, if you've got it stuffed in there pretty good, it may not need really vacuum sealing. But that's my recommendation, is vacuum seal it. And then what I do is I go ahead and put on here what it is. Today is 1/15/2025. Bagged kale, dehydrated. And that's what I do. Unlike canning, I go ahead and put that on there. Just because, number one, unlike a true canner, I like my stuff to stay together. So there's that. I have me some other projects going. I don't remember if I showed the other day. Here's some more of the beet kvass. I shared some with a friend of mine, a dear sweet friend of mine, and she says, oh my goodness, I love this. The more I do it, the more I like it. This is the second batch of the beet kvass using the same beets. Here's my first, what do you call it? Ginger bug, which is only ginger, sugar, and water. And I'm following different channels on that. Everything that you want to learn to do, just search it on YouTube. Since I'm kind of learning too, I've never made one of my, or a carbonated beverage. This will be my first, beginning with ginger bug. I have made kvass and I have made tapachi, and I love, love, love them. But this is making your own carbonated sodas. If I think about it, I'll try to put some links on who to follow. But again, what I suggest is do you some Google search or YouTube searches and find some people and go by what they're saying. This is on the third day. I mixed it up the first day, which was Monday. I fed it Tuesday, and then I fed it again today, stirring them. Anyhow, let's get busy, y'all. Let's do what we can do. There's no telling. I don't do any of this for panic, but I do want to learn some skills that may serve me very well later when times may or may not be rough. Look at what's happened to Los Angeles. Look at what's happened to some of us here in Florida with the hurricanes. Look at some of the places with the tornadoes. So I am not that person that SHTF. I'm not that person. But I am that person that makes so little money that I have to do a few things along the way to where I've got some food. Love you guys. The other thing with this, once you've charged it and now you can snap it back together, I didn't grab a verse. It's almost 11 o'clock at night and I'm so sorry. Trying to wrap this up. I love you. God loves you so much He gave us His Son, Jesus. And Jesus loves us so much He gave us His life. If you can't trust that, what can you trust? These, I wish they had not been store-bought greens. Not all of us, those of us that have a very limited income, my audience is more towards those people that's like me. We church mouse po. But yet that's no excuse not to be able to help yourself. Find some churches that has food giveaways, find some food pantries, trade some of your goods or services to a farmer or someone at a flea market, at a farm share stand. There's ways that we can do. We can barter. This isn't the best method to go because we live in a world, I hope and pray you know this, that people, nefarious, ugly people are trying to mess with our foods. Not trying to. I did a video the other day and about seeds, and in there I said, Now remember the 1970s, and then like an old fart, as I am, I had a brain fart and forgot to comment later why this is so important. The 1970s, when genetic modifications began, that was 50 years ago, depending on when it actually started, 50 to 55 years ago. That means I'm 69, I'll be 70 here in just a few short months. 50 years they've had to work on me or anyone of my age, modifying our foods, making seed-bearing fruits seedless. They're wanting to put things in our food. So if you can get organic or someone you know or grow your own, please try to do that. But some of us can't do that. So do the best you can do. I did this low and slow. I can put this, the good thing with dehydrating, whether it's in your stove on very low or whatever methods that you use, a lot of your nutrients are saved as long as it's low and slow. If you crank it up to high heat to try to go quickly, some of the nutrients may be gone. But do what you can do. I am not a doom and gloom person. In fact, I think there's nothing doomy and gloomy about this. I like to know what's coming, not to scare me to death, but so that I'm prepared. I hope you do too. Anyway, all right, there we go. This is not my first batch of greens. And for those of y'all, I think I've said it before, that have children, you can grind that up and you can put it in some of their foods. Even something that has fruit in it, they won't know the difference that, hey, I just gave you some food with some iron in it and with some nutrients in it or whatever. It's okay to be sneaky whenever it comes to something like that, because you love them. You want to eat some better grade foods. High nutrient foods is what you want them to do. All right, I'll let you go. Love you guys. Till next time, be prepared. I suggest start with your soul.